my turn.
You put it this way, you answer the procedure,
Yes.
and then you go to the subject.
Exactly. All right. So good evening, Chairman, honorable members of the tribunal. My name is Oded Kramer, and I will be pleading today on behalf of claimant, Right Limited, on two of the procedural issues. Claimant's first assertion is that the honorable tribunal should not order my client to provide security for respondent's cost. And second, that claimant asserts that the honorable tribunal should acknowledge our claims as admissible. If it pleases the tribunal, we'll then start with the first issue regarding security for costs. The terms of reference were signed by the parties on August 22nd, 2016, while respondent's request for security for costs was submitted only almost 2 weeks afterwards on September 6th that year. Although the delay in respondent's submission was caused allegedly due to the fact that new information was gathered by respondent after the terms of reference were signed, Article 421 to the CAM CCBC rules stipulates explicitly that, and I quote, the parties can change, modify, or amend their claim until the day terms of reference are signed, and not afterwards, obviously. Article 421 reflects one of the main rationales for security for costs that are also mentioned by Fouchard, Gillard, and Goldman, three main scholars in the field of international arbitration. The terms of reference meant to be a cutoff point in the arbitral proceeding. They are meant to prevent from the parties from prolonging the arbitral proceeding by continually altering the claim, harming a core principle of arbitration, which is efficiency. For this reason, the tribunal should dismiss respondent's request for security for cost and not violate its very own procedural rules, an act that will undermine its very legitimacy, as it will present its claims as arbitrary and unpredictable. Now, even if the tribunal does have the power to consider security for costs in the case at hand, a consideration must be given to the fact that security for cost as a harsh measure is given only in exceptional circumstances and after certain criteria are met. There are two relevant criteria in our case. The first one is that respondent would need to establish a clear risk that the final award for cost will go unpaid. Now, although clear risk is rather an ambiguous term, we don't know exactly what clear is, it has been held by an ICC court, an ICC tribunal, for example, that the threshold for this criterion is usually set quite high, and even insolvency in that matter, that is defined by the UNCITRAL Guide on Insolvency, a situation when liabilities exceeds assets, even insolvency for itself is not sufficient in order to establish this criterion of clear risk. Moreover, in their very known book, Law and Practice of International Commercial Arbitration, the two scholars, Redfern and Hunter, claim that the risk that a final award will go unpaid in a situation when the two countries are members to a New York Convention, like the countries in the case at hand, the New York Convention that makes the awards enforceable all over the world, the risk of non-enforceability is not clear, but insignificant. Moreover, I will invite you to open page 59 in procedural order number 2 in section 28. You can find there my client's financial statements from the years 2009, 10, and 15.
Can you state the page again, please? Yeah,
it's page 59. You can see that my client's assets exceeds its liabilities, and therefore, according to the UNCITRAL, is not insolvent or not also close to being insolvent. The second criteria relevant to our case in order for a tribunal to grant security for cost is a fundamental deterioration in claimant's financial situation between the conclusion of the contract and the commencement of the arbitration. Now, the purpose of this criteria is to protect both parties. On one hand, to exclude cases when the unfortunate financial situation had to be foreseen by a respondent that enter into a business relationship with a party in with financial problems, and on the other hand, to prevent claimant from disposing assets close to commencing a claim. Now, in the same financial statements, you can see that this criterion is not met as well. Although cash and cash equivalents, the first provision over here, went down from 2009 till 2015 by only 1.5% of my clients' assets, non-current assets went up by 40%, current liabilities went down by 30%, and both turnover and yearly profit remained relatively steady. So there was no deterioration at all, but rather an improvement in my client's financial situation. So we can see that this criteria is not met at all. Therefore, the criteria for security for costs are not met, and even if the tribunal, the Honorable Tribunal, does have the power to order security for cost, it should not go down that path at the case at hand. If the tribunal does not have any further question, I will move forward to the second issue regarding admissibility.
Just a quick question, if I may. Sure. Why would it be the case that the respectable business journalist would come up with such a nasty article if it's not true in your eyes?
Well, the facts that were presented in that article are not, I would not call them lies. I don't want to call them lies. But they present a half-truth story. Claimant's financial situation, as presented clearly in its financial statements, is not close to insolvency. It has not deteriorated over time, but rather improved. Although, as stated in our witness statement, due to the late development of our new fan blade